Five members of the same family have died after being struck by lightning at a Siwa village in Namalundu area of Kaoma district in Western Province. The opposition leadership movement party says that the 577 million United States dollars concession agreement with Macro Oceans Investment Consortium Limited for the commencement of works to construct the 327 kilometers and Lusaka dual carriageway is a criminal engagement. The African swine fever has broken out in Achipili district in Opla province. Five members of the same family have died after being struck by lightning at Siwa village in Namalundu area of Kaoma district in Western Province. Danny Mwale, the Deputy Police Public Relations Officer, has confirmed the development, saying all the family members were seated in a small hut used as a kitchen when the incident happened on Friday around 15:30 hours when the same hut caught fire after lightning. Mr. Mwale says efforts to rescue them by other community members in the village failed. He has identified the deceased as Eliza Namutula, aged 52, Mulonda Kashembe, aged 29, Namakao Silwendo, aged 28, Muyunda Kashembe, aged 12, and Boniface Mashawa, aged 3. The opposition leadership movement party has charged that the 577 million United States dollars concession agreement deal with Macro Ocean Investment Consortium for the financing, construction, operation, and maintenance of 327 kilometers and Lusaka dual carriageway is a criminal engagement which is detrimental to the welfare and development of the country. Speaking during a media briefing, party leader Richard Silumbe says foreign contractors should not be collecting revenue from a public infrastructure, further alleging that this is a clear indication that the UPND government has failed. Dr. Silumbe has expressed sadness that UPND is now giving away important infrastructure projects which should be saving every Zambian, both the poor and the rich. Dr. Silumbe has alleged that UPND government only cares about the foreigners who supported them into power to recover their money from the country.
Which now confirms to us that it's really a government that does not care about the Zambian people. We are very saddened as leadership movement to see that the New Dawn government, after being voted into power, they are now giving up on very important infrastructure that they should be maintaining and ensuring that all the Zambian people receive a better service. We are talking about the issue of the Lusaka and dual carriageway, which they have launched as a road that will be given to foreigners, purporting to be the private sector, so that in the end they should be collecting revenue out of that road. This is very detrimental to development because we are seeing that the New Dawn government does not have the stamina to take care of the Zambian people. What this means, when a government that should be taking care of public infrastructure and then gives them up to the private sector, in this case to some foreigners, it means that Zambians are up for grabs. It means that Zambians can be abused. Who knows how much people will be paying on those toll gates? They'll be making profit out of that road and all these things. That is not business. That is not the kind of entrepreneurship we want to see. That is not the kind of innovation we want to see from a government. We expect a government that is productive. It's because they do not understand production. They do not understand how to raise money with the Zambian people and be able to serve the Zambian people effectively.
Meanwhile, the Economic Freedom Fighters Party has returned to the Zambia Police Service Lusaka Division headquarters over its planned demonstration next week against the 25 years concession of the Lusaka Ndola dual carriageway. The demonstration is scheduled for Friday, 10th of March 2023. In a letter dated 3rd March 2023, addressed to the commanding officer, Lusaka Division headquarters, the party said the profession will involve people with message placards, first gathering outside the civic center at 14 hours and walking to the office of the district commission where a petition will be read. The Zambia Information and Communications Technology Authority is targeting to hit 90% out of the remaining 3.5 million SIM cards that are requesting live facial image in the next 3 months. The authority has so far managed to capture live facial capture for 7.7 million SIM cards since the exercise commenced about 2 months ago. Zector Corporate Communications Manager Hamford Chaba says that the 7.7 million SIM cards are out of the 10.9 million that were identified to have no live facial pictures. Mr. Chaba says that those that have been captured so far represent 68% turnout, which he said is good development.
You know, as you might be aware, in terms of heightened awareness activities, yes, this is what we are doing. We are trying to scale up this, of course, working in conjunction with mobile network operators, and we are hoping that with some new innovations that we are putting in place to try and, simplify the process, we are going to reach the 90% out of the remaining 3.5 million SIM cards, possibly in the next 3 months. So all I can say is so far so good, and we really appreciate members of the public that came forth. And just an appeal to also those that haven't yet undertaken the process, that you still have time basically for them to undertake the process and ensure that their SIM cards actually have the live facial capture.
Justice Minister Malambo Haimbe has reiterated Zambia's commitment to the global fight for life and protection of all persons against cruel and inhumane treatment. He made the remarks during the 13th International Meeting of Justice Ministers currently underway in Rome, Italy, under auspices of the community of Sant'Egidio with the theme No Justice Without Life. In attendance were ministers of justice, the diplomatic community, the clergy, academics, students, and other important dignitaries from across the globe. The minister urged the meeting to not lose sight of the plight of victims of capital offences while seeking to abolish the death penalty globally. On 23rd of December 2022, President Hakainde Hichilema signed into law the abolishment of the death penalty. Zambia thus becomes the 25th sub-Saharan African nation to abolish the death penalty. This is contained in a statement issued by Pamela Mlenga, the first secretary for press in Rome, Italy. The African swine fever has broken out in Chipili district in Wapla province. Disclosing the matter in a statement made available to Zanis, Chipili District Livestock and Fisheries Coordinator Matthew Zulu named the most affected area as a Mokonchi veterinary camp. Mr. Zulu said that the Ministry of Fisheries and Livestock has since banned the movement and the trading of pigs and pork products in and out of Chipili District with immediate effect. The ban is aimed at containing the African swine fever, which has broken out in the district. The Ministry of Livestock and Fisheries, Chipili District Coordinator, disclosed that the ministry has since declared Mokonchi, Kamami, Lupothoshi, Mwenda, and Mutipola camps as infected areas and quarantine zones. Mr. Zulu stated that the ministry has also set up inspections and disinfection points on all major routes in and out of Chipili District. African swine fever is an acute, highly contagious viral disease which affects both domestic and wild pigs. The disease is caused by a DNA virus which has characteristics of an aridovirus and a poxvirus. The disease symptoms include fever, listless anorexia, and paralysis. Leader of the opposition in parliament, Brian Muntubile, has charged that the Zambian economy has reached a desperate point where things can only improve if President Hakainde Hichilema physically meets his Chinese counterpart Xi Jinping. Mr. Muntubile, who is also PF presidential candidate, says China would play a key role in debt restructuring. Mr. Muntubile says it is now clear that the UPND will not admit that things are not going as they planned. He says Zambians will recall that each time Finance Minister Temeko Msokotwane spoke, whether on the floor or of the House or outside, he keeps on assuring the nation that the moment Zambia signs the IMF deal, most of the challenges that the country is facing will be a thing of the past. Mr. Muntubile cited unstable exchange rate where the Bank of Zambia had no intervention in coming up with policies to suppress the currency.
There is need to strengthen our diplomatic ties, and that can only be done at a higher level. So His Excellency the President, should he himself travel to China, I think at this stage, he cannot send an envoy to go and speak to the Chinese counterparts. But he himself must go and speak to the Chinese counterparts to try and negotiate and see how best China can help us restructure that going forward.
A Lusaka-based clergy has charged that the happenings in the former ruling Patriotic Front are a disgrace to the nation and those who still have the faith in it bouncing back to power. Rock of Glory Church Bishop Andrew Mununga says it is too early for the Patriotic Front members to be fighting, saying if left unchecked, the party will soon go into oblivion. Bishop Mununga has urged Patriotic Front members to join hands and work together if they are serious about coming back to power in 2026. He tells QTV News in an interview that the Patriotic Front has come too far to weigh themselves down with pettiness, intolerance, and negativity.
Underlined. Now, if the PF they continue like this, then there is no hope for among themselves and above all for the people that still believe in them. From the church point of view, I would love to encourage them to find an amicable way of settling down whatsoever they are having their misunderstanding. It doesn't add any value to the nation of Zambia, seeing people going in the areas they are, well, in the levels of misunderstandings which they are having right now. I would advise them that they should tone down. Each one of them, tone down. Samba has to tone down. Luvinda has to tone down. And everyone, come back on the table. We still need you as a united opposition party, as opposed having the opposition party that will fight itself in the end. They may even go to an extent of killing each other, and that won't be good. We want them to unite and let love lead. You know, I feel from the church, from the church point of view, that love must lead. You know, greatness must not be there, even when you are in the opposition. What is it for anyway? So let's see to it that the PF.
The opposition Patriotic Front and Akonde Member of Parliament Lucas Simumba has charged that divorce cases are on the rise due to the high poverty levels the country is witnessing. Mr. Simumba says the Zambians are failing to look after their families owing to the high cost of living in the country. He is therefore asking the government to stick to what they promised the Zambian people while in opposition to reduce the cost of living. And Mr. Simumba says that the ZESCO connection fees, which were recently hiked, have affected the poor farmers in rural areas.
Ministers, that fees will be reduced. I can recall that during PF, the connection fee for the poor farmers was only 250. Just imagine, from 250 up to almost 5,000. Where are we going as a country? And we want to remind the UPND administration to say, the reason why you were voted for is because of the promises that you promised to the Zambian people. You said the PF administration that failed to govern were coming to govern, and you said the PF have borrowed a lot. I was very surprised when I went to Chilabombwe at a funeral there. I went in the shop to buy milimi. I was stopped to buy more than 5 bags of milimi. Just imagine in Zambia, where you can be stopped, they said there is 1 bag per person in Zambia, and yet we have got a president who is cancelling the tenders of fertilizer for suppliers. So this means that even next year, the people of Zambia will keep suffering, and we implore the government to stick to the promises. They promised that dollar will be reduced, exchange rate into a single digit. How much is it dollar now? We were promised to say the standard of living, the cost of living will be reduced. Nowadays, that's why we have seen a lot of divorces in marriages, because people cannot manage to look after their families. So we're asking the government to stick to what they promised the Zambian people, so that the people themselves are the ones who are going to say, now UPND is working than them praising themselves.
Chief Kaputa of the Tabwa people of Kaputa, Northern Province, says that there is need for the country to tread carefully when talking about issues of traditional ceremonies. Chief Kaputa says there is also a need to understand the genesis of traditions in Zambia and make an assessment of how communities have benefited from traditional ceremonies in the country. He says in an event the traditional ceremonies are not cuddling positively, it will be wise for government officials who conduct such ceremonies and agree on what they think should be done in order to protect children from certain vices if at all such traditional ceremonies affect children. Government has called for a mindset change among the youths in order to foster development in the country. Speaking at the launch of the Youth Week that was held in Lusaka under the theme Transforming Minds for Accelerated Youth Development, Minister of Youth, Sport and Arts Elvis Nkandu says youths must be the drivers of the economy in all sectors and consider all empowerment programs as opportunities for them to venture into the business sector. The minister says government is on course to develop the country with the support of the youths across the country.
Who are the youths? To voice their concerns, and I know that it is coming. You should always reflect on your obligations as young people, your responsibilities, and contribution towards national development. So for me, this is a very good day for my ministry and indeed the youth of Zambia. Presently, the Youth Week offers the youth and the nation an opportunity, as I said earlier, to reflect on the young people's critical roles and economic emancipation. And also, it gives an opportunity to reflect on your commitments and responsibilities in the fight against poverty. This week, we also provide a platform for the young people to express their concerns, as I said earlier, in relation to their welfare and those around them. My dear youth, the National Youth Day is also an occasion for all of us in leadership positions at different levels to reflect on our commitments and efforts in offering realistic interventions that are aimed at empowering the youth. This will help us facilitate or create a conducive environment for the youth to actively participate in the social and economic development of our country.
Technical Education, Vocational and Entrepreneurship Training Authority, TVETA, and Production Technologies of South Africa have partnered to develop relevant skills for value addition, agro-processing to boost the manufacturing sector in Zambia. TVETA Managing Manager, Corporate Affairs, Clive Siachiako, says that the partnership with PTSA is part of bilateral engagement aimed at developing a training program in tool making, which is critical in strengthening the country's manufacturing abilities. Mr. Siachiako says that the partnership includes a capacity building for lecturers in tool making, curriculum development and assessment of instrument development, and further says to support mining sector productivity targets by Zambia. Meanwhile, TVETA Director Assessment and Certification Ocean Matimba says that the partnership will bring a lot of benefits for Zambia in its quest to actualize national development through the 8th National Development Plan. And Zambia's Acting High Commissioner to South Africa, Inonge Mwenya, says government will continue supporting the partnering with different stakeholders in line with its development agenda. Lions Club Kablonga branch has donated medical kit to Ngwerere Clinic in a bid to help improve service delivery to the community. Among the items donated include 2 delivery beds for the maternity wing, different medicines and sanitizers. Receiving the donation, Ngwerere Clinic head in charge, Charles Sinkala, expressed gratitude for the donation, saying it will go a long way in improving service delivery to the community. Mr. Sinkala appealed to the club not to stop there, but extend the same gesture to other communities in charge too. And handling over the items to the clinic, Lions Club Kablonga branch president Mwangala Mbangweta says Lions Club Kablonga has been with the clinic from 2017 and will continue assisting whenever possible to help serve the community better. And Satish Gulat, senior member of Lions Club Kablonga branch, has expressed gratitude to Lions Club partners for the donation.
This morning, we are Kablonga Lions Club. We are not coming here for the first time. This is our clinic. We've always been here from 2007. We've been coming to donate different medicals, different things, as far as the tree planting. And I can see our trees, they are all grown. And even today, we are going to take up tree planting after the medicals. So today, we are here to hand over 2 delivery beds to our maternity wing, and the medicines that we are going to share with our patients. Then we are also going to carry out some BP and diabetes checkup. Yes, so we'll be with you from now up to maybe around 12, 13 hours. Yes. So allow me to hand over the 2 beds that we have for the...
I would like to thank our sponsors, Malcolm Pharmaceutical Limited. They have donated 3 beds, maternity beds, and they have donated the diabetes machines, etc. Then Sterling Zambia Limited also they have donated, and Westgate Pharmacy Limited, they have given us a good quantity of medicines. And we would like to thank all these organizations which has been helping the Lions Club of Kablonga from time to time, and this year they have helped us a lot. And that is why all the medicines are here and beds are here. One more bed is there which we are going to donate to Kayosha Clinic, because that is also our project, and we have done a lot of work there last time, and so 1 bed will be donated there. Thank you very much.
For more in international news, here is DW.
Demonstrations are taking place in Tunisia this weekend to protest against an ongoing economic crisis and government crackdown